Yo, what's going on, you guys? It's your boy 3. Today I'm going to be talking about my YCS Vancouver experience and also my deck list. I had a blast at my at that YCS. It was really fun, considering everything that all the nuance that kind of catered to how my experience didn't go as well as it could have gone. I still enjoyed myself. The deck I chose to play was actually Ryzeal Mitsurugi, but this variant, unlike the one that I took to Nationals that I made day 2 with, this variant was actually more of a Mitsurugi Ryzeal variant. I chose to lean more on the Mitsurugi cards. I just felt like, I feel personally that like if they literally don't do anything to Mitsurugi, that like I as a player have there's like no incentive to play another deck. It's always going to be a Mitsurugi variant. I found that the Mitsurugi cards interact like extremely well with all of the current like new best decks. The big three being Dracotel, Yummy, which is my easiest matchup, Vangusoul K9, which is my second easiest matchup. Unironically, Dracotel is the matchup that it can go either way, because if I don't get to like Ouroboros them and I just end on my regular board, they can actually break it with Engine. Vangusoul K9 struggle really hard with Mitsu cards, specifically with Murakumo. Forcing them to discard cards on my turn and on their turn. This is probably the only deck that I can think of in the room that can full combo through the highest roll hand that you can get out of VSK9, which is resolving both Izuna and Hoisu in the same turn. I actually Ouroboros for 2 and Murakumo with my opponent's board when that happened to me. So I like this deck a lot. It's really fun. I think that if we do not get a ban list that addresses this deck, that I personally think everyone else is coping. They just want to move on, and I understand they're tired of old format. But I think this is actually the best deck. I know I didn't win the YCS, so take it at a grain of salt. I did come into this YCS with the round 1 loss because I didn't send an email. I had to work on Friday. And then I forgot to put Nightsword Serpent in my deck list. So then I was not only playing Nerf, but I started with the loss already. Very disgruntling, and it can sometimes make or break someone's experience. And I didn't let the nerfs get to me. I fought through it. I actually developed a bootlegged combo on how I could bridge Mitsu into Ryzeal, but I had to use my normal summon, which was not that great. So all of my Ryzeal combos were nerfed. I was summoning X and not being able to search all day. I was not able to normal summon Ice. Like, I played pure Mitsurugi 3 out of the 8 rounds where I never even dropped a single Ryzeal card. And I summoned Detonator 1 time at the event, and it was just to attach a Valon to detach it off Star Ryzeal so I could pop a face-down branded opening. There literally was like, it was actually crazy. After that event, I was like, I really feel like even pure Mitsu wouldn't have been a bad choice, because that's what I had to play sometimes. Yeah, I think the Ryzeal cards are absolutely absurd. This deck insulates itself. Both the engines can bridge seamlessly if you build it correctly and know your combos, and also the insulation that the Mitsu cards provide for the Ryzeal cards is almost equally the insulation that the Ryzeal cards provide to the Mitsu cards. Once this deck puts up cross, you can actually give your opponent 10 or 11 draws under Molcharmi and just Harpy Featherstorm them, which is absolutely crazy. So yeah, I started with the round 1 loss, played Fire King in round 2, and I was like, what kind of YCS is this? Obviously, I won that match. I Ouroboros the guy, and then round 3, I played Dracotel. I actually lost that one. So I did well, considering that I actually keep forgetting that Urgula pops spells and traps and not monsters. Pan pops monsters, not spells and traps. And that the trap that has the artwork of Pan is actually not the spell negate, it's the monster bounce. And Flame is the spell negate. So when your opponent sets those, even after turn 1, you still know where they are. So your opponent has to show you those cards. It's unlike public knowledge. Like if they add a card to their hand and you say, oh, you have Holy Sue in hand, they can say, no, I don't, because you only knew the turn that they did it. So I went X, dump Valon, and I said, pop the guy that, the dude with that looks like Urgula, because I thought that was the monster bounce, and it was Flame. It was just a spell negate, and I summoned X in attack. I searched Sword, and he actually bounced my X, and I was forced to normal X summon Sword, and then lose to a Faimana. And my hand literally was like Kusanagi, Sanji, freaking Murakumo. I'm sorry, not Murakumo, Futsu. And I'm trying to remember the other one. It was Talents. I Talents drew 2, and I drew Imperm and a Lupus. I actually played Mitsurugi Ryzeal K9, by the way. So yeah, I lost that one. I had to play through Winda 3 times after that. I was surprised my deck was able to outwin it even once. So yeah, and then I was like, dang, I'm X2 and it's round 3. I might as well just drop and go home. But nah, we mind over matter over here, bro. Straight willpower. So I actually proceeded to win round 4, 5, 6, and 7. And then only to lose in game 3 against White Forest when I had an opening hand that was pre-prep, Bonfire, Izuna, Sanji, and Murakumo. And I'm sorry, it wasn't Sanji and Murakumo. It was Kusanagi and Murakumo. And his starting play was LZ Dump Black Oat. So I said, oh, I'm not activating Izuna this turn. I was operating on 4 hours of sleep this whole event and still did that well. I didn't eat. And then like I already was discouraged because I started with their own loss. And I had to play Nerfed all day without Night Swords. The whole premise of building the deck without Tachyon was because of this card, and I couldn't even do it. So I was cooking everybody just Nerfed. But yeah, I ended up having a brain fart. I said, don't activate Izuna. And then he searched Sylvie, and on res, he normal Sylvie added the searcher, and I was like, activate Izuna, and I was like, wait, please, no, I have to take it back. I didn't mean that. And I was like, you know what? And he was like, nah, no one takes these back. He's like, I was like, that's fair. So not only did the Izuna not work because I knew he had Black Gold Lab. This is why you need to sleep. You need to sleep and you need to eat. But yeah, I knew he had Black Gold Lab. So it's just one of those funny instances. It's a brain fart. It's not a direct misplay. It's like when you're operating on barely any sleep, you literally just do crazy stuff. So I walked into the Black Gold Labs that I saw. Then he thrust for talents, took my pre-prep. I had Bonfire and then the top deck Nash, and all I had was Bonfire against his on-negate full board. So you know how that went. So I finished X3, got 140th place, top 128, went to day 2. I felt very strongly after I won game 2 that I was going to day 2 and I was going to top this event. I wasn't sure about winning because I felt like there were some undefeateds in the room and I can't beat them X2 even if I went out day 2. But then let's get some sleep, guys. So let's get into the deck list. If you like this kind of content, don't forget to subscribe, leave a like, leave a comment to support the algorithm, which directly supports me. Let's talk about the cards. We played 3 pre-prep. So my last list played Dododo Warrior and the other brick. This package comes with a brick, but I think this is better because it allows you to bridge into the Ryzeal cards while still being full combo for Mitsu. That doesn't lose to Cupsy Cookie, I think it is. Lollipops are Reborn, so the Synchro Cookie way. Because if I go Dododo Warrior, dump, summon another level 4, they can just go Cookie, Book of Moon, those two. And sure, if you have another starter, you could keep playing. But I just didn't want a 1-card combo that lost to that interaction. I wanted a 1-card combo that cooked their whole board. So if I play against Yummy and they don't have Ash, if you guys didn't know, this actually breaks their entire board, even if they have Arc Light up. So yeah, absolutely disgusting. Then we have 3 copies of Prayer. This card is just not fair at all. None of these cards are should exist. Like these are crazier than my custom cards. We have 3 copies of Abakiri, most broken card ever. Like I'm such a Mitsurugi fanatic. Like I've been a Mitsurugi fanatic ever since I took this deck to Nats. I've been like, oh my god, why would I ever not play these cards? Like they're just so absurd. No effect negation hand traps work. Spot removal doesn't work. They can pop or bounce your Murakumo. The board's still getting wiped. You search a prayer in the middle of your combo, so they can't even imperm it. You'll attribute it for cost. Absolutely disgusting. The 9 literal, outside of X, these are the literal best starters in my deck. I still think X is the best card in the game. So we have those 9. We have another worse 1-card combo, but it's not bad. It's still a level 4, and you extend into the Ryzeal cards after that. Then we have the other 2 that you really don't want to draw. I won out against Malice. I was crashing out too. He freaking shifted me. I was like, why would you do that? It was game 3. I'm sorry, it was game 2. He shifted me. No, I'm lying. So, game 3 he shifted me. I nipped him and I OTK'd him with just Mitsu cards. But game 2, I specifically had a hand that had this, what's it called? Node, Star, which are the worst cards in my deck. And then I had a triple tactics talent. And I was like, oh my god, if he imperms me, I'm cooked. And I'm like, I don't know what I do here. Do I normal Saji and grab Ritual and summon from deck and just pass? And I was like, wait a minute, I'm onto something. So I went Saji, add prayers. He didn't stop it. And then I attributed the Kusanagi and added the Aramasa. Summon the Aramasa, effect, full Ryzeal combo, full Mitsu combo. It was crazy, actually. It was I turned a really terrible hand into a playable hand. It was really good. Shout out to the Mitsu cards. Murakumo, I'm literally addicted to summoning this card. I feel like where I'm at in life right now in Yu-Gi-Oh! Is if I can't summon Murakumo, I just don't want to play Yu-Gi-Oh! 1 copy of Futsu. This card is actually, this card I equate it to Nibiru, the Primal Being. By this card being in your deck list, your opponent literally will interact with you differently. What do you mean, Stacks? You don't even know what you're talking about. So, Izuna, Faimina, and also Holy Su all summon on your turn. So if you play Mitsu cards, you're going to end up searching this, and because this is in your hand, they're going to interact with their turn 0 hand traps before they want to, because otherwise you will leverage those cards with Futsu to make an Ouroboros. This happened against VSK9. He tried to turn 0 me after I summoned Futsu. I got 3 bodies off the Futsu. He should have interacted with the Futsu, and I literally made the Ouroboros off the 3 free bodies because he wanted to Izuna and Holy Su me, which was absurd. So yeah, this card, I think, just because this is here and the nature of how this card extends you into rank 4s like Baguska and Dugaris, which is draw 2, Floodgate, or Ouroboros hand loop, this card's degenerate. And it helps you to mitigate the degeneracy of your opponent's deck, because they will literally shotgun Izuna before the opportune moment where they really wanted to, just so that they don't play into the Futsu, which they will lose the game. If they play into Futsu, they actually just lose. Yeah, nobody's playing through Ouroboros. Like, they're not. And you Murakumo their board, so it's not like they keep the cards on field. And the follow-up that they had, it's discarded. So, Mirror, crazy card, infinite grind game. It's so broken. 1 copy of Ritual. I wanted to play 3 of this. I actually still felt like I needed hand trap. I really overestimated how many people would actually think this was still the best deck. Nobody was playing Mitsurugi that I saw outside of 1 person. And I just thought, I can't play hand traps if people are playing the deck the way I play it, because I'll get hand looped. But people were on droplets, thrust, board breakers. I was like, dude, this is the perfect format to just like degenerate and play Ouroboros. Like, people aren't playing good hand traps, they're playing songs and imperms, like they're playing the dookie ones, and they're not maining Droll. Like, this deck literally, this is like the best format to play Mitsurugi Ryzeal right now. Like, literally, I don't think there's a better format. Like, it's so tailored for this deck to have the advantage. It just curb stops everything with just engine. X this game. Best starters in my deck. This card single-handedly broke a fully established Draco Tail board. This card checks literally the only Omni Negate that White Forest has. And if I had my pre-prep in hand, I would have won the game because he had no hand traps. He fully committed. Yeah, this card just has to go. If it's even at 1, there's still a problem here. 2-star, 2 ice, not the best. X is still better in my opinion. And starting with ice is only nice when you want to insulate yourself through specifically Droll, or if you're playing into a board, you force interaction by setting cross. If you're obviously post game 1, games 2 and 3, you will be setting up the cross. And then we have the the 2 sword, which is the worst one, but still full combo. Node and Star, these cards just somehow just always find their way to be in my hand in either game 1, 2, or 3. For some reason, we're gonna break that curse. Then we have the 1 cross. Absurd card, absolutely absurd card. This card lets you take like very risky challenges, because then it doesn't matter the amount of cards your opponent draws, especially if they're playing Yummy or for example the Draco Tail card, a Draco Tail deck, because like every deck, all the new 3 decks have a limited number of pushes, and the fact that Cross can negate a card that's being chain blocked means that the card that would like out Baguska, for example, against Draco Tail, because that deck cannot play under Baguska really, unless they like have a way to fuse, and they have to specifically use the Mulu or the Pan. So here's the problem: when you have literally just Detonator Cross, they go Pan to pop, you just detach from Detonator and Baguska stays. Because if you guys didn't read Detonator, I'll just tell you guys really fast. If an XYZ monster you control will be destroyed, period. It's freaking Dingirsu. And then, so you don't negate Pan, you just negate Mulu during res of Cross, and that's why Detonator with Cross and Baguska is an FTK against Draco Tail, which this deck has an FTK against every deck, but like, yeah, people just don't respect it. Yeah, so card's crazy. Take every challenge. I actually give people like 6-7 draws post-sighting just because Cross is in my deck, and I'm like, I'm not afraid of your Molcharmies at all, and I haven't actually lost a single Molcharmy challenge except at Nationals against Ryan Yu because he cited in XYZ Encores. That was the only card that was beating the Harpies, and I was like, hey, if you have it, you have it. So that's the only time I've lost a challenge. I've given people 8 draws and literally still won. It's just, you know the limited number of pushes their deck has, that's what you interact with. Don't be afraid of the economy, just interact with the actual engine cards. Don't negate redundant cards. Like, don't negate starters. If your opponent drew 7, just assume that their Rhoda doesn't have to resolve. They have Rosin. Just negate the actual cards, not the searchers. 6 Charmies, 3 Ash, crazy cards, so unfair against Draco Tail. If you just Ash their Flame and pre-prep resolves, game's over. 3 copies of Imperm. This is a hot take. I think this is one of the best hand traps in the game. If your deck has a high ceiling going first, this puts up Rippers, so people are playing stupid stuff like Valor and Bell. They just lose to their own cards. Like, They just Valor your freaking X or your any one of your cards. You just normal ice, they Valor it, and they walk into an Izuna, you put up Ripper, and you win the game. Like, it's just crazy. One Nib, same thing with Futsu. Just it being in my deck list makes people play different, and I'd rather they play around it than play into it and I not have it, so yeah. And then Talon's Called By and Imperm are like probably the best non-engine you could draw. As your 6th card against Yummy, it just literally FTKs them, so yeah. Extra deck is 2 Duo, 1 Detonator. This is like your inboard. If you play Draco Tail and they Molt Charming you, you obviously are not Ouroborosing there. It doesn't even make sense. You specifically make Detonator cross with Baguska. Again, because the only ways they have to out Baguska are specifically going to be Pan and Mulu, the Monster Negate and the Monster Pop. Detonator checks the Monster Pop, cross checks the Monster Negate. They get FTK'd while they have 13 cards in hand and they have to literally fuse and fuse and fuse and then make an SP. And guess what? Detonator keeps bodies off field, so they can't make an SP while Detonator's up. Then we have Ouroboros. Literally, I want to play 2. There's multiple instances where I could have just ripped 3. But most of the time when this is made, if it's game 1, they're giving up. They're going to scoop. Game 3, they're just going to be stubborn because this is their last chance. And you just don't lose. Castel, Eclipse Twins. I make this a lot with Dugaris. Put it up to 5k. It wins games against Malice and other like weird decks like Yummy. Exiton. This is another reason why X is game. People don't play around this. They don't pay attention. They just think, oh, I don't take damage, so I'm not going to like stop you from making Exiton. But the problem is like, I literally will Ouroboros you in my main phase too, bro. I will, and I'll Murakumo you and make you play with 2 cards against a full board after you can't take any damage. Use the follow-up, bro. Go ahead. It's gone. It's discarded. We have Feral Imps, Code Igniter, probably MVP in the extra deck. I've had my Ryzeal cards hit correctly. I've literally had my X Impermed, my Habakiri Summon Saji, that got ashed, and then I normal on Mole Charmy, and then go like full combo. In the middle of the combo, I go Code Igniter, because I go Feral Imps, obviously. I've even done Feral Imps and then Eclipse Twins with the node to bring back Feral Imps to get the Haba and the Murakumo, and then the Haba still got ashed, which was crazy. And then you go Code Igniter, tribute the Haba from hand, summon Murakumo, wipe their field, add a prayers. So you can literally, this card lets you just full combo no matter what happens. You can get hand trapped in the right place on both your engines, and just because you play this, you're still able to, you're just in there. I would never not play this card. People are crazy if they don't play it. They lose winnable games by not playing this. Dugaris, MVP, Aggregator. High key, best X target lately has been Star. Sky. Yeah, it's just because of the freaking Draco Tail cards. Like, you just know where it's at, and it's free real estate. Then we have Ripper, which if you play against Draco Tail, if you Izuna them, you make Ripper on their in phase, specifically in attack because their trap can't bounce it anyways. Or if you want to detach Lupus to summon it in defense, and that checks 5 mana. And basically 5 mana is the only part of their board that matters. If you're playing Mitsurugi Ryzeal cards, their traps don't really do anything. Especially if you have X, it's just game. And then we have Dynamundo. This card is also like degenerate, turn 0 plays. People are summoning cards in your turn. People like to summon Izuna, dump Lupus, and wait. You make Dynamundo and punish them for waiting because they didn't want to make a rank 5. They want to like see how you play. And then now their Lupus just makes Typhon and they lose the game. Side deck is 3 Thrust and 3 Book of Eclipse. These cards cook this format. I literally freaking went Izuna into Ripper, Ripper effect, I Izuna on my opponent's turn. I went Ripper effect, he goes Imperm. I chain Book of Eclipse, he goes chain Imperm, targeting the Ripper. I say, okay, that's fine, because I summon the Ripper on his turn. I flip it face up on my turn, because it was summoned on his turn. And then now I'm insulated from Nib and Droll. So, this card's broke, kid. This card's crazy. It just cooks everything, man. Every deck that's basically not Malice like will be somewhat hurt by this. This really is like an FTK against VSK9. Your deck doesn't lose to the trap, and the actual Vanquished portion of the deck just cannot beat the Ryzeal and the Mitsurugi cards. Droll for my deck mostly. This card because people want to draw 17 cards off Molt Charmies and still lose. Another Alta Droll, the Duster for the thrusts, and just people want to play back row, and then Purification. Yeah, card's crazy. That is my deck list, you guys. I had such a blast. This deck is addictive, how fun it is. It is absolute goo. I love my deck so much. It's so fun. I feel like it's just, dude, I feel unstoppable when I play this deck. It literally, it feels to me like the best deck. It has really no bad matchups. Actually, if you play only the 3 new decks, I think this is literally just this deck's not fair. The way I feel about Mitsurugi Ryzeal is that if the ban list doesn't address this deck, then we just have a problem where, like, people will go back to this deck because it's not hit. I think people are playing new format under the premise that this deck's going to hit, so they're getting used to practicing with new decks. But if this deck wasn't getting hit, I really doubt that a lot of people would choose Yummy or Dracotail or K9 over this deck outside of them just being tired of it. So that's my hot take. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make good choices. Deuces is wild. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Peace.